Hold on, he's got you. Sometimes it feels like the end. Look again.
Well, hello everyone. I hope you all are having a wonderful day so far. I have had such a long, exhausting day. And so this is me now in the kitchen getting ready to make some fried fish. I'm having cod this evening, along with some potatoes, and gonna make some tartar sauce and a little ketchup and hot sauce combo for my potatoes, and then I'm going to call it a night. Let me tell you about my day. This video here was recorded a couple of Sundays ago, actually. I woke up, got dressed, headed out the door to go to church, decided to take a new route to church. I don't like getting on the highway to go to church, and my church is kind of far from where I live, so I decided to take back roads all the way to church. Oh my goodness, I had my maps on my phone and on my navigator, but I guess I was just not really paying attention. So I ended up going past my church by a few miles. And I thought, oh my gosh, by the time it takes me to turn around and get back on track, I'm going to be so late for church. So I ended up not going to church. I decided to go and visit a sick friend in the hospital. So that was a very worthwhile thing to do. It was a very good thing to do. I mean, it was a Sunday. People make up the church. And so I had to look at it as me taking the church to the hospital. I was like, well, if I can't be in the church building today, then I'm just going to take the church to the hospital and just try to put a smile on someone's face, try to minister to them the best way that I can and make them feel better. Well, I tell you, I ended up staying 5 or 6 hours at the hospital. My friend did not want me to leave, and I could understand why. I mean, they have been in the hospital for over a month now, recovering from a situation. And you know how it is when you're sick and you're laid up. Even if it's at home, you want company sometimes. You're just so tired of just being in the bed and looking at the walls. So I decided to stay there, and they would not let me leave. They were like, please don't leave. If you go, I won't have anyone to talk to. And so I'm like, all I could think about was, I don't really want to eat this hospital food. I have food at home. I want to go home and cook a nice dinner so that I'm not, eating this hospital food. So I ended up eating hospital food, which was the bomb, by the way. I think I ended up having like a turkey sandwich or something like that and some chips. I brought my sandwich back up to the hospital room after my friend had eaten their lunch. And they wanted my lunch. So I had to share my sandwich. And, I don't mind sharing, but I did not want to share my sandwich because I was like, you know what? They don't have that much of an appetite right now. So they're actually going to not eat what I give them. And, my food is going to go to waste. Well, they did end up eating the sandwich. And so I was, I was partially full. I guess I was full enough, but I was still thinking about those potatoes that I wanted to come home and chop up and just get going, make some homemade mumbo sauce, and just enjoy dinner. But I didn't do that. I stayed there. I prayed with them, sung a little song for them, just helped them go to the bathroom, I was just there, just a presence in the room, just talking, being company to the best of my ability. And I was so exhausted the whole entire time. All I could think was, I know that you are enjoying this, and I'm actually glad to be here, but I'm so tired and so pooped. I didn't get to go to church this morning. And I can go this evening, but if I go this evening, I won't have time to run home between services. And so I thought, you know what? I'm probably not going to be able to go to church this evening either. So finally, after being there for 5 or 6 hours, I thought, you know what? I am where I'm supposed to be right now. I am part of the church, and I have had to bring the church to the hospital. It was the best thing that I could have done that Sunday. It was the absolute best way for me to spend my day, even though I was tired. If I had been in the other person's position, laid up in that hospital bed uh, for days and days and weeks and over a month, I would definitely want company. I would want people to come by to see me, pray for me, just be there. And so I did what I had to do. And while I was there, I really thought about it. We are the church. People make up the church. And, it's ministry. It might not be singing in a choir or preaching a sermon, or I might not be on the usher board or the usher team or the baptism ministry or whatever. But I, as an individual, am operating in a ministry right now because I'm here, I'm visiting the sick, and it kind of takes away from you mentally, because you're like, I'm so drained and I'm so concerned about you right now. I'm so worried about you, and I'm trying to encourage you and keep you lifted up, and I'm seeing you here, seeing what you're going through, and you have to kind of be strong for them and for yourself. And it can just leave you feeling absolutely wiped out and so tired. And so when I finally did leave the hospital, I told them I was time for me to go. I will come back to see you again. I've already been to see them 3 or 4 times now, on the weekends. And they were so appreciative. I mean, each time that I went, they were just so happy. And hopefully they'll be getting out very soon. So I might find myself there again on a Sunday. I don't go after work because, when I get off work, it's really dark and the hospital is some distance from my home. So Sundays are a pretty good day for me to go and visit them between services. So I spent the day there, and I was a blessing to my friend, and vice versa. I'm so glad, looking back, I wouldn't have had it any other way. I'm glad I went. And so now here I am at home, still dressed, still have my shoes on and my sweater, and my hair at this point is kind of messed up because I got caught in the rain a little bit on the way to the hospital. So my hair got messed up a little bit, so I just pinned it up there, and now here I am inside the house. I got home, fed my dogs, and sent them on their way. Pulled out my little 5-pound bag of potatoes, took a couple of potatoes out of the bag, and here I am now just peeling them and chopping them, cutting them into little squares, actually. That's something I used to do when I was younger. One day it occurred to me, hey, I don't have to have, sliced fried potatoes or French fries. I can cut these into little cubes, just throw them in some oil and fry them that way, smother them in some hot sauce and ketchup, and that's going to be some good eating right there. So it had been a while since I had cooked my potatoes that way, so I decided to do it on this particular day. And I even peel them, and I don't usually peel my potatoes. And so right now I'm just putting a little bit of flour in the oil there, just a little pinch to see if it's hot, because I'm getting ready to fry some nice codfish This fish is beautiful, fresh, white. It doesn't smell fishy. I think I picked this fish up from Wegmans. I got like two very, very nice pieces for like $9 or something like that, you know. That's going to be a couple of meals from me. I think what I'm going to do is just cut them up. Yeah, that's what I'm doing here. I'm cutting them up into little bite-sized pieces, and then I'm going to use some Louisiana, I think it's called Louisiana fish fry. I don't think that this particular fish fry that I'm going to use on this fish is the seasoned kind. So I'm going to throw some Old Bay on my fish, and I do have a different type of fish seasoning that my daughter gave me. She put some in a little container for me, and I'm going to combine that with my Old Bay and dip it in that Louisiana fish fry and put it on the stove, and it's going to be on and popping. Now, the way I usually like to eat my fish is by just completely covering it in hot sauce, just slathering it in hot sauce. Just think of spicy wings, but it's spicy fish. That's how I like to eat my fish. And then I'll usually like have a little container of ketchup on the side, and I'll just dip it in there. I guess I like saucy foods, things that are kind of saucy like that. Um, so that's how I typically like to eat my fish. But on this particular day, I decided to make some tartar sauce. Tartar sauce is one of those things that you don't have to buy. It's so simple and easy to make, costs absolutely nothing to make. So that's what I ended up making to go with this fish. And you can see I'm a clean as you go kind of person when I cook. My mother taught me that a good cook always cleans up after himself or herself. I still remember her telling me that when I was in my youth. Always clean up after yourself. And so I like to clean up as I go along so that my kitchen doesn't end up looking like a disaster with stuff everywhere, dishes in the sink, you know, all over the countertop. It's just chaos in the kitchen. And that's the last thing that I needed on this particular day, as wiped out and as tired as I was. And yeah, just getting back to that for a minute. When you are looking in on a friend or family member that's sick and they're going through something, you know, it actually takes a toll on you, especially if you're a compassionate person and you actually, you know, care about people, and you can kind of feel with them. You know, you go through it with them. And it takes a toll on the mind. So not only was I physically tired on this day, probably I don't think I got a ton of sleep that night, but I was mentally and emotionally drained. And I thought, okay, when I do this video, I'm just going to talk about, you know, just going to make a fun video of me doing a fish fry. Y'all, I didn't have the strength. I was like, you know what? It just is what it is. If I get flour on my sweater, so be it. It just is what it is. Because I know that people are going to be able to relate to just wanting to get home, get food on the table so that you can get undressed, get a shower, get into your bed, and just do absolutely nothing. It's like the best part of my day, just doing nothing at the end of the day. All right, so here I am going in with my cod fish. I think I cut it up into about maybe like 8 or 9. Cut both of those fillets up into about maybe like 8 or 9 nice sized pieces. And I'm just going to let that cook for a little bit. And then I'm going to use that same oil to cook my potatoes in. And it's going to be so delicious. And then, you know, just turn in for the night. And so here I actually have on the countertop there some lemon seasoning. It's called True Lemon, and it's just crystallized lemon or something like that. I buy the true lemon and the true lime. The true lime is my favorite. I use that on like avocados. I put it in my salad. I put it in rice. Like when I make lime rice. Have you all ever had lime rice? Oh my gosh. It is some kind of good. Just, I make mine. I put olive oil in it. I put so much stuff in my rice. One of these days, I'm going to have to make rice, do a rice video because like my salads, I put everything in my rice when I'm cooking my rice. And so one of these days I'll do a video on how I make just one of the versions of the lime rice that I make. So anyways, back to my cooking here. I'm just draining my potatoes. I'm going to go in with some seasoning salt. I usually season my potatoes after I cook them, but here I'm going to go ahead and throw some seasoning salt on my potatoes. That's my favorite seasoning for potatoes, by the way. If I have seasoning salt, I don't need ketchup or hot sauce or anything else. In fact, that's how I like to eat my tater tots, just by sprinkling some seasoning salt on there while they're nice and hot, and then I'm good to go. My mother turned me on to seasoning salt and nature's seasonings. I use those two quite frequently because they have pretty much everything in them that you need. That way you don't have to go in with all the garlic powder and onion powder and, all these other different herbs and spices. So anyways, so here I'm getting ready to make my tartar sauce. Now my mom taught me again how to make this, and you can use just sweet relish or salad cubes, or it has to be sweet. So I'm using a couple, I think I used like a couple of heaping tablespoons of the relish. It looks like a store brand, so it might be called salad cubes. And I didn't have Miracle Whip, which ideally is what I would want to use when making tartar sauce, but I did have some Hellmann's mayo, and Hellmann's is really good also. So I went in with some Hellmann's, some relish, a little bit of lemon. I'm going to put some black pepper in there, and to sweeten it up just a little bit, I might put. I'm thinking I'm going to put a pinch of sugar in there. I can't remember quite if I did that or not. So I'm sampling my fish here. Fish was the bomb. Let me tell you, it was so good. It's nothing like eating your own food, your own cooking. So anyways, yeah, the next time y'all want tartar sauce, don't buy it. Just go in your kitchen and make it. You're probably going to have the ingredients, a little squeeze of fresh lemon or some type of lemon seasoning. Or you could, you can forego all of that altogether and just go with the mayo and the relish. Like seriously. But I like to make mine a little savory, a little flavorful, or a bit more flavorful than that. So I do add like a smidgen of sugar. I think it was probably like 1/8 of a teaspoon of sugar, or maybe close to a quarter, but just not that much. And that tartar sauce was so, so, so good. Look, it was so good that I wanted to just keep spooning it in my mouth once I was done eating the fish later on. It was just that good and just so simple and easy to make. You can put a little vinegar in it, whatever your taste buds want. Just make sure you have your base of the relish and the mayo, or the relish and the Miracle Whip. I'm going in with just a little bit of the juice from the relish there. I think I must have had it a little too thick from the mayo. But anyway, it was quite delicious on my fish. And I like to put black pepper on absolutely everything. I'm one of those cooks that I just have to see the pepper, I'm doing a little taste test here. So delicious. So, so, so good, y'all. That was some kind of good. If I must say so myself. Now I'm getting ready to take this fish off the stove. Get a nice pretty plate. Actually, my son is here with me, and I'm using one of his plates. He has these pretty blue and white plates that he picked up from Pier 1 a few years ago. Hey, listen, this is going to sound kind of random, but is it hard for you all to use someone else's coffee cup or bowl or dish or plate? It's so hard for me to use someone else's dishes. It's almost like I'm cheating on my own dishes or something. It's like I want my coffee in my cup. I want my salad in my salad bowl of choice. I don't want to have to use a different somebody else's salad bowl. Even if that other person lives in my house, it's like this is my bowl, that's your bowl. This is what I'm accustomed to eating in out of. I know it sounds so silly, but it's so hard for me to eat off someone else's dishes. It's just some people are just funny, and I guess I'm just funny like that. But anyway, for some reason I decided to grab no, I'm grabbing a little saucer there, and that's another saucer that he purchased. I didn't purchase that one. So I don't, I mean, it's a beautiful saucer, but it's just like, I just can't. I don't even know why. Anyway, that's just a little random side note, weird thing about me. It's just one of those things. Now, I know they say you're not supposed to drain your meats and things like that on paper towels, but I do. I don't have a rack to use when I'm draining my food. I feel like it holds on to too much grease when you do that. But that's just me. I mean, I grew up in a house. Well, actually, I grew up watching my grandmother drain all of her meats and potatoes on bread. She would line a plate with bread and just scoop out her fried potatoes or her fried chicken or whatever, and you'd be left with all this greasy bread, well seasoned greasy bread with crumbs on it. I used to go by and pinch it. I mean, I think everybody did that just greasy bread. It's not healthy, but I promise you, we all did it growing up. So funny. But anyway, yes, I use paper towels for everything when I'm trying to get the grease out of my food. I don't use any type of drying racks. I just don't feel like they are as effective as I would like for them to be when it comes to getting the actual grease out of my food. And so here, I guess I'm just doing a little organizing, cleaning as I go, making sure that my kitchen is clean so that I'm not stuck with a bunch of dishes by the time that I'm done. I'm getting ready to throw my potatoes in the grease, and it's not going to take too long for them to cook. And then I'm going to get my little ketchup hot sauce combo together and just really enjoy a nice meal. Looks like I think I already did throw my potatoes in the grease there. They're cooking, they're doing their thing there. And now, if you have ever been to DC, you'll know that they have this sauce I think it's called mumbo sauce. And, no one quite really knows what's in it, but I know it's excellent. Like, it's excellent. I don't know how to make it, but I do know that the ketchup and hot sauce combo is good enough. I mean, it's not mumbo sauce, but it's a spicy ketchup. It's a spicy sauce, and it's really, really good to dip your fish in or your French fries. You could put a little vinegar in there, a little black pepper, season it up. I like to season things up. I don't always eat things, just the standard regular way. I like to spice them up. You can never use too much pepper, and I love habanero peppers. I can't eat habaneros with fish. Just doesn't, for me, it just doesn't go. But I do love habanero hot sauce, habanero flavored oil. I do make hot oil by frying habaneros. in the oil. When I do that, I have to open every door to the house, every window, put a mask on, turn on the vent over the stove, because the heat from those habaneros actually um, they catch your breath. You know, they make you cough. So I don't do it that frequently, and if you have pets or children, and I wouldn't recommend doing it, but it flavors the oil very well. And let me tell you, when you cook with that oil, your food is good and your food is hot. So I usually only will fry like one habanero. And most of the time, I don't bust it open. I'll just drop it in there, let it fry, take it out, and I'll put that baby in the freezer. I'll mince it up, dice it up really well, put it in the freezer, and take little pinches off of it and add it to my meals. Just love habaneros. Anyway, so there's my little batch of cubed potatoes. Just think of potatoes O'Brien without the onions and bell peppers and stuff like that. And I usually just go all over the top of that with my hot sauce and my ketchup. But this time I put in a little dipping container there. You know, fried potatoes are also good with honey. I absolutely love having honey on my potatoes. So here you can see that wonderful, wonderful, what do you call it there? My tartar sauce that I made for my fish. And now, as pooped as I am, I'm getting ready to bless my food. And I'm getting ready to go and enjoy my dinner, get undressed, take a deep breath, and do absolutely nothing for the rest of the evening. And here I go trying my potatoes. Yes, those potatoes were the absolute bomb. And they were even better with that hot sauce and ketchup combo. And this is going to be a wrap. May you all have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Hold on, he's got you. Sometimes it feels like the end. Look again.
Hi, Molly. Hi, Poo-Poo. Hi, Stink Bug. What are you looking at me like that for, huh? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want, Doodle Bug? I love you. You love me? You love me, Stink Bug? You love me, Stink Bug?
'Cause it may just be only